We're here in Elestriad Season 3 to see if Season 1 veteran IronBoffin, with his mastery over the Frost Pantheon, can take down the sheer darkness of SuperInsaiyan and the Lunar Pantheon. Hey guys, Stellar Christoph, back from Tartarus to see who's going to win this epic clash. Is it going to be Frost, or is it going to be Lunar? We will find out shortly. Speaking of clashes, don't forget to check out Kickstarter for Elestrals Clash, the brand new digital client. Just $10 pledge will get you beta access by the year's end, or you can get a higher tier and you get alpha access by December 1st. IronBoffin, tell us what chilling strategy you've come up with for your clash.
Yo, what's up Elestriad fans? My name is IronBoffin, returning veteran from Season 1 of the Elestriad here for Season 3. Now, I am rocking the Frost Pantheon this tournament, and I'm here to bring you my deck profile and what I'm bringing, why I'm bringing it. We are bringing 2 Cryolings, some of Frost's strongest warriors, Cryoling, and 2 Cryovern, of course, to go with it. I didn't want to overcommit to him. You'll see my overall strategy here, so I didn't want to go too big into the Cryovern thing, so no Cryoscorch either, just some big bodies right there to start. Next up, we're bringing 3 Catarant, my beautiful elephant friend, because Recovery, this deck is going to be very expensive, and we're going to need to bring a lot of Frost back to me. Next up, the big hitters in the deck are coming through. We have Wooly, an 8 attack Elestral here, absolutely monstrous. If he destroys an Elestral in battle, he gets to clear the field. He's an absolute monster, and we'll be relying on him. Next up, we're bringing some Daybreak. Don't think I'm not bringing no Daybreak. We got 3 Rhinymph here. You know, pretty cool. I can use them to suppress my opponent's Elestrals. My opponent is playing a Lunar deck, so it'll be interesting for me to suppress their suppressing things. We're gonna have a lot of double negatives going on here, and it also allows me to play Big Bro Rhinosect, another 8 body Elestral. So my strategy, as I think it's becoming clear, is to put some big bodies on the board and just attack. Because if they're playing Lunar, I can't rely on boosting effects like more Frost won't work. You know, even Cryoling's effect won't work. So I gotta have big bodies on the board to deal with their Elestrals. We're bringing 3 Tadflow. Tadflow is cool because that will let me special ascend Tadflow into some of the bigger bodies like Wooly or Rhinosect. So just let me get the big bodies out there. Next up, we're playing 1 Infrostix. So basically, if I need a piece of the engine to come back, if I need a Tadflow to play a bigger Elestral, if I need Catarant to give me some healing back, if I need Cryo, you know what I mean? Basically, like it'll restart some engines if I need it. Next up, we're bringing some water coming in here. We got 3 Narpoons that'll let me also search my deck for 1 Frost Spirit cost Elestrals. Basically, let me search my deck for what I need. If I need a big body, I can get Cryoling. If I need something to summon bigger bodies, I can get Tadflow. And the last of my big bodies, we're bringing Waylands, Narpoon's big bro. We got Waylands coming in, another 8 body Elestral. So we're playing some big 8s here. We're also bringing some Tadpuff, because Tadpuff will also help me ascend right away into some bigger bodies. That'll be it for my Elestrals that I'm bringing this week. Let me just move all these off the camera here and make some space. Next up, we are bringing 2 of the Pantheon founder, Khione. So that's gonna be really good, because basically this will also let me search my underworld for some Elestrals that I need to restart things. So we have Infrostix, we have Khione. We have a lot of ways to kind of get things back from the underworld. So that's why I said this deck's gonna be very expensive. Next up, we're bringing 3 copies of Cryoblast, more Daybreak here. Cryoblast is obviously gonna be very good. I expect my opponent to bring things like Kuribus. Kuribus is the one I'm really scared of, and that thing only has 2 defense, so Cryoblast will nuke it off the board for a 1 cost. So Cryoblast is gonna be pretty good. Very excited for that. We have 2 Tsunami just in case. Probably gonna get side decked out because I expect my opponent to be playing some kind of water core with them, you know, like Kuribus and Eddie and all these other things. Next up, we have 3 Ambrosia, and then lastly, we have 3 copies of Gorgon's Gaze. So I'm not bringing a lot of poison tipped arrows. I'm not bringing a lot of shields. Basically, I don't want to get caught between a rock and a hard place, pun intended. So I'm not really committing a lot to counter runes. I'm really committing a lot to being able to get big bodies on the board. That's all the cards I'm bringing in my deck here. Now let me show you my spirit deck. So we have 12 copies of you. We have 6 copies of Leviathan, also Shattered Stars. And then I'm a big fraud. I didn't have any copies of Shattered Stars Owloon, but we got 2 Owloon just to play around Dense Fog. Okay, last up, we're gonna go over my side deck because this is a best of 3 format. I'm bringing 2 Blizzards in case I need them for rune clearing. I don't expect to bring them, but I have them just in case I'm getting bodied by PTAs and shadow or shields and stuff. I have 2 Mountains of Boreas. If my opponent's playing a lot of big bodies, somehow bigger bodies than mine, then I'm going to need to be bigger bodies. mountains. So I'm bringing mountains just in case I need to get over some of their bigger Elestrals. Next, we're bringing 2 Galaxy. If they're running a lot of Kiribis or a lot of Water Core, I can swap in Galaxy and flip their stats around. Next up, we're bringing 3 copies of Brumalinks. This will be good if they're relying a lot on, like, say, for example, their Divine Rune. If they're, I forget, Artemis, I think is the Lunar Divine Rune. If they're relying a lot on runes like that, then Brumalinks can come in, flip them face down, and make it so they can't play them. Bringing 1 copy of Resting on Your Laurels. I'm not bringing this in my deck because I expect to be having a lot of spirits on the field, so I probably won't be able to play it, but it doesn't hurt to have it. Playing 2 Nogs in case I'm just not drawing what I need and I feel like I need the extra draw power. And then last, we got 3 copies of Shield of Achilles in case I need it. If I see they're not really running a lot of Rock in a Hard Place, then I can kind of commit back to Shield of Achilles. These are probably going to replace Tsunami in my deck mid-game, so we'll see. But I wanted to run Tsunami to start, so that is my side deck and my deck profile. Hope you guys enjoy the game. Let's get into it.
Love the big bodied beatdown style of gameplay, especially with the inclusion of Rhinosect. Tadpuff Tadflow to special ascendant to its 2 cost feels great. Remember, if Whale Lance destroys an Elestral in battle, Boffin can search that opponent's deck for the Elestrals with the same name and send them to Tartarus. Brumalinks in the side deck, absolutely love that idea of shutting down anything in the back row. Perfect. Casters, it's hunting season with Artemis. SuperInsaiyan. Show us your arsenal.
What is up, Elestriad? SuperInsaiyan 18 here, and for the first week of the event, we are against IronBoffin on Frost. So what does that mean? That means that we are terrified of specifically Rhinosect. Why? That is because Rhinosect has an attack stat of 8, and our deck really can't get over that. So what are we playing? We are on Draking. So Draking has an attack stat of 7, and in my opinion is probably the best way to play Lunar right now. So of course, with an attack stat of 8, the Rhinosect is terrifying. If our opponent is not on Rhinosect and they are on some kind of Cryovern deck or Morfrost deck, we have a little bit of an easier time, but we do have to be prepared. So in order to be prepared for the Rhinosect, we are of course on our Kiribis. Kiribis having an attack stat of 9 makes it relatively easy to get over. So now we are on our 3 copies of Drakid. This is to ensure that we have a quick way into our Draking, as well as our 3 copies of Eddie, Edward, Eduardo, whatever you want to call this mad lad. But this is our easy way into the Kiribis as well. Then we are on a couple of really easy Ascension plans. Of course, we are on 2 copies of Gloombat and 2 copies of Tadpuff. These are just essentially free special casts, so that way we can use our normal cast for our turn to get into something like the Draking or the Kiribis, and it just works out really well. This might not be so great because it is reliant on our opponent setting 2, but we'll have to see when we get there. Next up, we have the number 1 Lunar monster. Of course, that is going to be Spectrus. This is just generically good, and I think every Lunar deck is likely going to be playing it. And finally, for our Elestral count, we are on 2 Dratagua. That is because we are essentially playing water disguised as Lunar, and so we need ways to recur those water spirits just so that we can activate some of the other things that we have in our deck. Now, onto the runes. We are playing quite the turbo package. We are on 3 copies of Nectar of the Gods alongside 3 copies of Drops of Leave. Now, these are here for one reason and one reason only. We are going to see our Draking and we are going to hit hard. Now, we are on to some additional consistency pieces. We have our Rock and a Hard Place. This is really, really cool specifically for Lunar because not only does it function as removal, but it functions as a way to cheat out our big boss monsters. Because of the effects of the Draking and the Eddy, we will be able to go into our King and Kiribis respectively. Of course, we have our 3 copies of Ambrosia because the name of the game is Spirits, so if you need more spirits, this is the one and only way to do it. We are on 1 copy of Resting on Your Laurels, newly limited but still a very strong card, especially if our opponent ends on Rhinosect. Then we have our 1 copy of Artemis. Now, unfortunately, we are playing just 1 because it is within the confines of the Elestriad rule set, and I don't think that it's that good in a Draking deck. Of course, we are on 3 copies of Poison Tipped Arrow. The reason for this is because we really need ways to clear that Rhinosect. Rhinosect is very, very threatening and very, very scary, and of course this also puts it below our Draking as well, so we just want to make sure that we have outs for it, which is again why we are also playing something like Shield of Achilles. It will be expensive, but we need to make sure that that Rhinosect does not stick to the field. And finishing up the main deck, we have our 2 copies of Tsunami, which might get sided out if our opponent is smart and enchants his stuff water, just to kind of get around it, but let's show you guys the Spirit and the side decks. We are on 11 Lunars because, again, within the confines of the Elestriad rule set. After that, we are on, I believe, 7 water spirits. This is because, like I said, we are essentially just playing water disguised as lunar. And finally, we have our 2 copies of Terratlas. This isn't for anything we have main decked, but you can probably guess a card that we have in our side deck, and we decided to main these because you can still use them for any of your Omni runes or if you take damage, and it just opened up a little bit of spot in the side. Finishing up the deck profile for the side deck, of course, we have some removals. We have our double Boombat, which we are also, of course, on the 2 copies of Zaptor with it. We are on double copies of Nobby. This is for if my opponent is not on a Rhinosect strategy, because this essentially is a 6. Being able to lower all of my opponent's monsters by 2 makes it very, very threatening. 3 copies of Dense Fog. This is because we are a blind going second deck, so if our opponent chooses to make us go first, we can go ahead and slot these in and at the very bare minimum turn off something like the Rhinymph or the Rhinosect effect and just get some really good use out of it, which is also why we are on 3 copies of Gorgon's Gaze. So those are just the cards that if we are going first, we're going to go ahead and slot in. Next, we have quite a few 1-ofs. We have our 1 of Earthquake, our 1 of Tsunami, and our 1 of Atlantis. Earthquake doesn't really need explaining. The Tsunami is just if our opponent does not show us that he is willing to water enchant, we can slot it in and it functions as another pseudo out for his cards. And the Atlantis is a weird one because the Atlantis is here to pump up our cards to be bigger than his, but again, our opponent does have the option to misenchant water, so this might not go in. It just depends on what our opponent shows us in game 1, whether or not we're comfortable putting that in game 2, but that is going to do it for the deck profile, so hopefully you guys enjoy the games.
Drat King is such a good card. 7 attack stat, and when it destroys Boffin's Elestrals, they will essentially protect the Drat King since you get the special cast those onto your side of the field. Bloombat and Tadpuff are perfect for the quick ascensions into his powerhouses. Like the addition of the Nogs, and then seeing Drops of Leaf, which you don't see played too often, will help sift through his deck so he can find exactly the cards he needs. Clashers, good luck. We will see you in the clash. Looks like SuperInsaiyan, he actually mulliganed first turn. But IronBoffin is the one going first. Rhinymph right off the bat, 5 defense. And he can actually put that on an opponent's Celestial as well if he chooses to. First turn Nog, trying to search for his... Probably trying to find the Drat Kid and the Drat Kings. No option for Rock in a Hard Place though, which is part of Boffin's strategy. Eddie first turn. He's going to switch that Rhinymph to attack, so Eddie will be able to swing in and destroy it. 3 back row. It's a good thing IronBoffin does not have Bluebat in his deck. Eddie goes in and attacks, and it goes through. Again, the bad thing for IronBoffin, not having a lot of counter runes, but we'll see how it goes. It gives him more space to get those big bodies out. Going Cryolink turn 2. It's only going to have a 2 attack, so defense is the optimal way to go. Are we about to Drat Kid? Are we about to see Rock in a Hard Place? If he does Rock in a Hard Place right now, he gets to double Special Ascend. He's doing it. Rock in a Hard Place. So IronBoffin has to choose one of his 2 cards to get destroyed, and we might just see a double Ascension. He destroyed the Gorgon's Gaze. Casters, this is complete craziness. It is his 2nd turn. It is turn 4 of the game, and he is summoning his 2 biggest bodies. So as you guys know, Kuribus, if you disenchant 2 water on your field, you can go ahead and pop a card, and whatever it's enchanted with for spirits, you can heal that much. And Drat King, which is exactly what SuperInsaiyan's doing right now, he is going to destroy that Cryolink, re-enchant it. It has to be water or lunar, and he's going to re-enchant on his side of the field. So not only does he get another Elestial to attack with, but on IronBoffin's turn, if he decides he's going to attack, his only options are going to be that Cryolink or the Kuribus. Drat King's special effect is when you bring the Elestral back, you cannot target Drat King as long as that Elestral is on the field. You have to attack the resummoned Elestral. Now remember though, we're also going to look at the spirit math. So yeah, I mean, Boffin just lost 3 spirits, but we're 15-9, so this game still has a ways to go. Alright, he summoned Khione, the additional cost, and then you add 2 more spirits to it. He's grabbing the Rhinymph. Is he going to try to bring Rhinosect out right now? He's doing it. He's expending the Spirit. Rhinosect is going to go to his rune row, equipped to an Elestral. Which Elestral is he equipping it to? He chose the Drat King, guys. He suppressed the Drat King. And then he's bringing out the Rhinosect. He's bringing out the Rhinosect. So now he gets to destroy one card that has an equipment on it. Or when an Elestral is in the rune row equipped to something. Oh, that hurts. PTA, so he's only going to get one turn with this Rhinosect. But he can still do some damage. So he did destroy the Drat King. And then he can still attack over the Cryoling. So he is still a 6 attack, so he can still do some kind of damage to SuperInsaiyan. So he didn't attack. I don't know if that was a missed opportunity, if he wasn't sure he still could. But he could have attacked over that Cryoling. Spectator is awesome card. Whenever it does battle with an Elestral, that Elestral gets suppressed. And then for every suppressed Elestral, it gets +1 attack. So he just did 4 more points. 4 more spirits down. It's a close one. SuperInsaiyan definitely having the edge right now, but as we know, a clash can change turns very quickly. Alright, playing Ambrosia is going to get the heal 3 on that. Definitely going to help keep him in the game for at least another turn or so. But he still has a big wall to get through with that Kuribus. So he is disenchanted from Khione again, and he's choosing the Rhinymph. Does he have another Rhinosect in his hand? Is he going to do the same thing over again? I don't know what his spirits are in Spirit deck, but he might have enough to do it. Alright, Rhinymph is back out. Is he going to expend? So he played 1 card face down, so he might not have the Rhinosect in hand, or he might not have the spirits to fully do that maneuver. It really just depends on what that face down is, because Tsunami's not going to help. It might be a Gorgon's Gaze, which would keep him around if he can Gorgon's the Kuribus. In a second spec. Misenchanted. So again, if Tsunami is in play, then the Spectaris can still attack. And that face down was not Gorgon's. So he should, at this point, he's probably going to take 3 points of damage. Alright, down to his last 2 spirits. What can IronBoffin do to get back in the game? And Boffin is scooping. That is definitely a strong board to go against. So we'll see what happens in round 2. 2 games in a row, SuperInsaiyan is mulligan. And IronBoffin is going to mulligan as well. Wow. You don't see it happen too often. And then SuperInsaiyan is expending to draw first turn. So there is a chance he is just trying to get to whatever cards he wants. And there's the Drops Elite. Again, he gets to decide how many cards in hand he wants to send back to his deck. And then shuffle his deck and draw those cards back. So he's sending 3 cards back. The resting, I don't know if I would have got rid of that. He might be saving it for later down the road. It just depends on what he has in hand. If he's trying to go turbo into Drat King as soon as he can, and there's a Nectar drawing 2 more cards. I'm wondering if that's one of the cards he drew off of Lethe. Already a big switch in the Spirit count, 18 to 13. And then no Elestrals down, so hopefully those 2 counter runes, hopefully there is a... I think he had a Tsunami in his main deck unless he's subbed out, but hopefully that's a Gorgon's or a PTA. And IronBoffin plays the Narpoon. He gets to search his deck for a 1-cost Frost and add it to his hand. Alright, search goes through. Let's see what he's going to pick. Is he going to go for the Rhinymph again like he did last game? He chose Cryoling. Okay. And Narpoon does get the chip damage. That's actually a very smart move on SuperInsaiyan. You don't want to waste those counter runes on just a single attack. Especially if he has Drat King or Drat Kid, or if he has Eddie, then he can be able to defeat that Narpoon. But here we go. He special cast the Tadpuff. So it does have to be in attack mode. He might not have seen that. They might not have caught that, but most likely he is ascending it. Yeah, he is ascending it into Drat King. Drat King out early this game. No back row for IronBoffin, so most likely SuperInsaiyan is going to attack. He's going to destroy the Narpoon and bring it back to his field, which will give it added protection as well. And having a 4 attack for the protection is going to work out pretty well. So Narpoon, or IronBoffin will take the 1 damage because of that destruction, and then here we are for SuperInsaiyan getting the second Elestral out. And remember, he is running Kuribus and another Drat King, so he could technically ascend into one of those Elestrals. Alright, Boffin's turn. Let's see what he has in mind, has in store for his opponent. He's bringing out Rhinymph. Does he have Rhinosect in hand? Hopefully, if he does, it's not another PTA like last game. He's doing it. He's expending. So he will attach that Rhinymph to Drat King. Is he going to do it, guys? He is. He's bringing out the Rhinosect. Is he going to see another PTA? No PTA. Is he going to use the special effect? He is using the special effect. Drat King is gone already. Now, hopefully this attack goes through and then he can take full control of the board. Oh, he shielded it. It is going to cost him a total of 3 spirits, but then Rhinosect is off the board. Brings it to an 11-5, but again, SuperInsaiyan might have the lead. He might have Ambrosia in hand. We will see. He now has a clear board. There's a Dratagua. So he does get to heal too, so that is going to bring him back to 6 spirits. And honestly, if he has protection for Dratagua, he can just re-enchant it next turn and keep healing, depending on what his spirit count is and what his game plan is. He did attack for 2, so it does bring it down 9 to 6. He summoned Cryoling. I had not paid attention to the spirit count. Does he have 5 spirits in the underworld? So as you guys know, Cryoling, once it reaches 6 attack or more, you have to immediately special ascend it or destroy it. So he does have it. He is getting to bring out the Cryovern. Now here's the question, is he going to misenchant it with water? That's what you see a lot of people do. He doesn't. So as we know, he does not have Cryoscorch in this deck. So this is a fully enchanted Cryovern. So in this scenario, I would say attack the Dratagua, because that's going to stop the heal function. It just depends on what his game plan is. He did Tsunami it. Yeah. You do see that happen again with Cryovern. If you're not running Cryoscorch, a lot of people will misenchant it with water to fight over that Tsunami. But again, he does have a 4 body, so oh, and there's the Spectaris. Scratch that. Spectaris, again, when it attacks, it will suppress the Elestral and then gains +1 attack for every suppressed Elestral on the field. So Cryoling does go down. And then he gets to attack in twice into IronBoffin Spirits. They are laughing a little bit because SuperInsaiyan keeps using IronBoffin's Elestrals to attack him. Has to feel bad. It is close, but if he gets something defensive out for a turn. Expending to draw, or... Wait. Oh, he's bringing out Tadpuff. Is he going to ascend it? He is. With a Frost. Which route is he going? Is he going Waylands? He goes the Woolly. Again, an 8 attack feels good though. And it is misenchanted though, so if there is another Tsunami, he does get past it. He's attacking Dratagua. Will this attack go through? It did. Alright, it is 2 to 3 with an 8 body on the field. What is SuperInsaiyan going to do with this turn? A Water Sphere into Eddie. Oh, that hurts. Oh, that hurts. Woolly goes to defense, and then Spectaris can hit over it. Sadly, guys, that would be the game right there. He's going to attack in with 2 to 0 spirits. He has no spirits left on field or in his spirit deck, so IronBoffin has lost this match. SuperInsaiyan, did he go Super Saiyan? He just did the thing, guys. Lunar comes full force against Frost. And that, guys, the clash is over. Thank you for joining us for Elestriad Season 3, and we will see you guys in the next clash. Peace.